this. I'm very, very serious about this, and you will find yourself on the opposite side of a lawsuit, and you'll know that not only am I an attorney, I'm a good...
I am definitely in a fight with the content creators against Maurice Scott and his alleged lawsuit against Black Titanic in here for hot tea. There are some things that we definitely have to discuss. There's some stuff that I want to point out that I haven't quite heard of content creators say. They may have, I just haven't heard, but maybe 2 or 3 that has spoke on the matter about Maurice. However, being stated on this video is my own thoughts, viewpoints, and opinions. Make sure you like, share, and comment. And make sure you subscribe to the channel because there's a lot of people coming through, watching the video, not liking it, enjoying the content. I need the views to match the likes. Thank you in advance. You know, I've said this several times that I found it interesting that not many major news sources was picking up on the lawsuit between Maurice and content creators. Amanda Anderson-Niles at Urban Belle has done an article on Maurice Scott, and it's titled Maurice Scott an own countersuit for millions by Love and Marriage Huntsville YouTuber. Black Titanic is countersuing for over 22 items against Maurice, and she's alleging cyber harassment and emotional distress. And Black Titanic, I am so sorry you're having to deal with this. I can only imagine the stress, because I did hear also True T say that she had to put money back for Black Titanic to have a bodyguard because it had gotten so bad that she didn't want her to go to court by herself. I would like to donate to the GoFundMe to continue to support the content creators. I will be sure to post it on my community wall, so be on the lookout for that. Up to speed, let's take it back. So we remember when Maurice did the video. He did the video calling out the content creators. I didn't realize the paperwork in the video was allegedly the YouTuber's information. When were y'all gonna tell me that, okay? So, from my understanding, he subpoenaed YouTube to get the content creators' personal information, their banking information. I had never heard of that being done in a lawsuit. Maybe somebody that's an attorney or practicing attorney or studying law can tell us, is that protocol for an attorney to subpoena someone's job per se, because this is still a job, and ask them for their personal banking information and not their address and their full name? He began to fall into some of the content creators' comments under a different name. So they didn't know if there was somebody trolling them until he did the video. But even then, he did not say their names. Don't like to listen to me, but I told y'all during my review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 7, last episode with Maurice and Kimmy, I said that Maurice and Kimmy is plotting against content creators. And I understand why content creators were now against them, why they were losing the popularity contest, because majority of the interview with Kimmy and Maurice from Belle Collective, she was only talking about the fans. Her whole demeanor had changed about what people's opinions were. And then she was trying to shift the blame about what Maurice had said about him rolling over on her and taking it, when really, in reality, people were taking up for Kimmy, but then she, in return, got mad at us. And so people just stopped fucking with Kimmy altogether. He did this interview with his boss, Carlos King. As I've said before, Carlos King could have edited the part where Maurice was talking about rolling over on his wife, but he did not, because he knew it was going to be controversial. Asking Carlos King to remove the interview, they began to attack content creators who was commenting on his comments. Remember when they were sitting in the bed, I believe they were in Houston, and Kimmy began to talk to Maurice about how he needs to address her family. They began to come up with a plan on how he can address the family, and in the same breath, she was changing the narrative to point the fingers at the content creators. What I'm saying to you is the same energy that they put in on season 7 to address Kimmy's family is the same way and energy they put in to redirect the conversation when it came to his comments, when it came to the fans of the show. I also remember when Mel brought up the fact that that's what Maurice meant. That's what he felt at the table, and how Kimmy cocked her neck at Mel. I said, oh, she's enemy number 1 in Kimmy's book. See, a woman like Kimmy, as long as they're having a bad day with their significant other, you can talk all the shit you want. You can point out their insecurities. You can talk about their narcissism. You can talk about how rude and violent they are. But the moment that they've made up, you better not say anything about their spouse. Otherwise, you're going to be the problem in their relationship. People like to emotionally dump on you, but then they like to attack you once you're trying to pull them out of harm's way. You're going to always be the problem, which is why I disassociate myself with women that has this mindset like Kimmy. Getting back to the story, I told y'all I have a lot to say. Getting back to Maurice, I remember when all this was unfolding about his comments and how he went under his comments on Instagram and told people that the content creators needed to fact check their sources. And mind you, like I said, the content had been pushed out 6 months prior. They had made whatever they were going to make on it, and that was done. So when they removed their videos, that wasn't enough. He wanted them to grovel. He wanted them to apologize. I told y'all that. But I remember taking heed to the warnings of the content creators not to report on certain stories and topics when it came to Love and Marriage Huntsville. Mind you, Maurice was asking that we not share or talk about things that wasn't happening on the show. Baby, that's not how content creating work. It did not, this commentating thing did not start with Love and Marriage Huntsville. People have always gave their opinions and thoughts and viewpoints on other shows like Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Atlanta. I mean, this has been a thing. So I don't know why he thought that it would stop at the show, especially if you're not telling us everything that's happening in your life. There are going to be people associated with you outside of the show, people that has known you in your area that's going to drop in our DMs and tell us something about you, and we're going to go research it. We're going to put it out there. That's how this goes. But he asked for us not to talk about him. On top of that, there was rumors that the Love and Marriage Huntsville, some of them were planning false stories in these streets so that they could sue content creators. J. Cole that I was just listening to the other day is called Rich Niggas, and in that song he said wanted the respect but it came with fame. That sums up the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast. So Maurice began to, like I said, I feel like he started to cyber harass a lot of content creators because of their opinions, even though he told us to stop talking about them. But he went on 6-month-old content about videos of them talking about him once, because like I said, and like Here for Hot Tea have said several times, when we talk about this man and his wife, we get no views, child. No, none at all. As a matter of fact, this lawsuit is bringing more attention to his name than him being on the show, to be quite honest with you. And I'm only going to read a small bit from Amanda Anderson Now's article. If I sound a bit different, it's because my microphone is out. It said the attorney also claimed Maurice failed to prove malice or that he issued a written demand to Black Titanic to retract her statement. He didn't put a name on it. Maurice's attempts at justice is being viewed as intimidation tactics by Black Titanic's attorney. They also believe Maurice allegedly may have been coached to file the suit to control the narrative.
And I spoke to Carlos King earlier today, and you know what? Carlos said maybe before
Black Titanic wants no less than $5 million. He initially filed this lawsuit against them because he said that they had claimed that he had a drug dealing past, which he said that it was false, only for him to be arrested for a DUI. Now the narrative is he's not a criminal. Then that's like equivalent to saying somebody who smoked crack isn't a crackhead because they smoked crack one time. Degree that I have is from Otten University, that's Young Pharaoh, and I'm working on Marcus Garvey University, and that would be Dr. Umar, okay? I don't know anything about law is what I'm trying to tell you, but gathering is Maurice is struggling to file proper paperwork to have the lawsuit dropped. He's fighting 2 cases and he's due into court today, but he's fighting a DUI and then he's fighting this lawsuit that he started with content creators. But I believe, from my understanding, he wants this lawsuit to go away. But because he's not well versed, he don't know quite how to address the courts to have it dismissed. Compartmentalizing this is how people will ask rhetorical questions. They already know the answer, but they want you to tell them to be sure. So they will weaponize their incompetence to have you help them process whatever information it is that they need processed so they can progress forward. Almost leeching. I had a friend like this. She didn't know too much about the worldly things, like how to put in applications, how to, file for FAFSA. So what she would do, hey, can I use your computer? And then she'll come over, use the computer. And then she asked me every question on the computer. Essentially, I'm doing the homework for her, or I'm doing the paperwork for her. That's what it sounds like Maurice is trying to get Black Titanic's lawyers to do. And a lawyer is honing in on that and calling it out. And her response to his request. Crazy, because we know that you were probably considering using this as content on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Ultimately, you did not. I don't know, whatever, for what reason. Y'all probably have gag orders because I don't really hear Black Titanic go deep and personal about what she's experiencing in court. For your lawsuit to be content for us. Now, this isn't just content for me. I am concerned about the lawsuit in its entirety, because where do people get off thinking that they could be public figures and they can say whatever they want, essentially insulting a group of people, such as people who have fought cancer, and you say something so disparaging to them, and we're not supposed to say anything. We're supposed to turn a blind eye because you're Maurice? No, that's not how this works. Maurice still representing Marceau in court too? We hadn't heard much about Zen Gardens. That be 3 lawsuits. The Zen Garden, if that's still going on. And then we have the DUI that he's due into court, I think either today or next month. And then we have the content creators, in which you have now included on network. To this attorney's point, she's telling Maurice what he has to defend himself against once he make it to trial with Black Titanic in specific. Has he ever intimidated? Has he ever lashed out? And I don't remember her exact verbiage, but has he ever retaliated against people who have said something to him and comments, or just, trolled them? And I remember a video I did about a month ago. A few years ago, Maurice had posted a check that he had received. I want to say this was about 3 or 4 years ago. May have been longer than that, but he posted a check he received, and in the comments, somebody asked him about his mother's teeth. They were like, "Oh, well, great. Now you can fix your mom's teeth." This is what Maurice said to this woman. That woman, she was a heroin addict. I want to clap back at y'all asses in these comments, because some of y'all just be unruly for no damn reason other than you're mad and miserable. I totally understand that. But as a future practicing attorney, why the fuck would you call that woman a heroin addict without your fact? The practicing attorney alleged that a commenter was on heroin. Let that settle in. This was years before he made the announcement that he was going for his law license. I'm sure people in his family knew that he always wanted to be an attorney, but this is how he was on social media prior to. So what would change now? Last allegation. You don't know if that woman is on drugs or not. You just made that shit up. Same thing that you're accusing content creators of doing to you. You are doing the very thing to this commenter who is a private citizen. Difference is you are a public figure. All through the lawsuit, you're saying that you're a celebrity. And with that comes criticism from the public. It just put me in the mindset of how Marceau grabbed his phone and went live. And he basically said that content creators did not have power to steer or influence the numbers at Love and Marriage Huntsville. And then we have Carlos King, who is posting these numbers saying that, and said that the Love and Marriage Huntsville ratings is at an all-time high. These people are determined to prove the content creators wrong, which still lets me know that you guys' focus are off. And do you guys find it interesting that Marceau wasn't really going live and talking about ratings until the blackout was announced? Hear me out. I really believe that Carlos King became so upset about the announcement of the blackout that he called Marceau. I don't know who else he may have called, and I'm just assuming here. But I truly believe that he called Marceau going the fuck off. He was upset. And that in return made Marceau upset. And so on his live, he began to lash out. When was the last time you seen Marceau go live and talk about ratings? Before now. Like hardly never, right? Here it is. There is a content creator alleging that one of your cast members stole her information to pass it to a blogger. And you're not least bit concerned about that. At least we don't know that publicly. And then you have a cast member who was arrested for harassing communications. You have another cast member who was drinking and fucking driving as an attorney. And you have that same person that has now caused himself to be in a countersuit for $105 million against not only himself, but also Oprah. You're not concerned about that, but you want to post ratings? That's the mindset. The fish stinks from the head down. These are the same people that said Tiffany was not transparent, for one. And two, every time you work externally instead of internally, it validates something for me. You don't realize it, but you're telling on yourself. Cap. Maurice became upset about things that was being talked about on these YouTube streets, things that he had said out of his mouth. Nobody made those words up. He said those things. So he got upset. He launches this investigation on content creators and began to attack their channels by going undercover, allegedly creating fake accounts. And he was, I think, leaving comments under his account with his attorney's office or his law office. And then he asked them to remove the content, which they did because it was 6 months old. I mean, nobody was talking about him no more. And because they didn't apologize, he proceeds with the lawsuit, only to be countersued for $105 million. Now, while he's fighting these allegations that was not the Maurice Jefferson Scott on the documents that was released by certain content creators about his drug dealing past, which was not him, he goes to a party, drink and drive, have a single car accident, and goes to jail. And now he's saying he's not a criminal. Ernesto Williams is also facing the same charges that Maurice could face because Ernesto, if you don't know, had scammed Charleston White. Charleston White bought some services from Ernesto so he can build his social media. And I'm going to let him tell you the rest.
They can't get my, come on, they can't, I been scammed out of $1 million, homie, by some celebrities. Shirley with the strawberry letter, her husband, and the other woman, Candy, who say she was my wife, homie, they scammed over $1 million. So they can't get nothing, homie.
If I can remember correctly, what happened with Charleston White is he signed up for some services with Ernesto Williams and his entourage. And assuming that he was getting his social media built through Ernesto Williams' business, he was getting his social media presence known and it was getting pushed to the forefront to the people. But the money that he was getting from social media platforms such as YouTube, Ernesto was able to do that was he had Charleston White's personal information for one, and then he sent some fake judgment documents to YouTube alleging that Charleston White owed him, and YouTube was just pocketing the money to Ernesto. So yeah, he stole millions from Charleston White. Now y'all know how severe this situation is, especially for a practicing attorney. It can go left real quick for him. While he's saying he's not a criminal now, he could possibly face criminal charges if he is found guilty of what the content creator is saying that he did when he allegedly tried to get that information from YouTube. Instead, he decided to allegedly intimidate them, cyber harass them, let them know that he's watching them online. Though you declined to take the field sobriety test, that's not to say that your license may not be suspended. About your lawyer license and your driver's license. On top of that, you're making the lawyer office that you're working for or working with look bad because maybe they want to look into the clients that you guys once represented to see if there were some intimidation tactics used there in other cases. How the law is in Alabama, but they may even issue out the machine that you have to plug into your car. You have to blow to start it up so they can read your alcohol levels before you drive off. Anything could happen. I mean, you're going to have to face the consequences one way or another. I just don't understand, why did you file the lawsuit if you weren't willing to go through with it in the first place? Were you just trying to intimidate the content creators? Either way, we will be providing updates over here on TinkMarshae. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment below. I definitely want to hear your thoughts and opinions.